our previous meeting, we just run through the subtopics we will cover by this lecture, right? Starting from the definition, and then some 6 key elements of the organizational design, and some more, knowledges, in general knowledges about the types of the structures, right? From traditional to the more conventional and modern one, right? Okay, and some more information about the challenges toward the organizational design in today's time, right? Okay, you can refer to this official, not official, sorry, popularly accepted definition for organizational structure, that is the formal arrangement of jobs within an organization, right? You need to focus on some keywords in here, focus on some keywords in the definition. The first one is the arrangement, but that's the formal one, formal, not informal, right? The formal arrangement in any organization is often presented in the form of some print out, right? Some official documents of the organization, right? So it can be fixed in a certain period of time. If you want to change that, you may need some official procedure for reviewing and then revising and then approving before you can change the formal documents. Right. And there are 6 key elements, which composed the organizational structure. And regarding the job of the manager to develop the organizational structures, that the job is called the designing structure, right? Designing structures, and this job involves these are decisions about the 6 elements that we just mentioned, from work specialization to departmentalization to the chain of command, the span of control, and the degree or level of centralization or decentralization, and also the level or degree of formalization in the structure, right? Right. The reason we need to do the organizing is because we need to divide the work to be done into some smaller pieces of work, right? And then you, based on that, to form the department. So this purpose related to 2 elements of the organizational design job, the work specialization and departmentalization, right? And when you talk about the responsibilities, right? It means you are talking about the departmentalization, right? And also the chain command as well, and also the centralization and decentralization, right? Because centralization and decentralization related to the way the organization make decisions. The organizations make decisions, right? If you need people to involve more into the decision-making process, it will be more centralization. And if you don't want people to have your says in the decision-making process, it will be less centralization or more decentralization, right? And the coordination related to the relationship between the departments within or among within an organization, right? And the communication as well, right? It may relate to this chain of command as well, who we need to obey the order of whom, etc. Right? And some more, purposes of organizing, you can link them to the 6 elements we just mentioned here, right? And now we will review the 6 elements in more detail. Right. The first element is specialization, right? You know that a job, especially in modern time, is often very complicated, right? Complicated, and it may need like a series or a set of discipline. So it means it's a multidisciplinary task. Multidisciplinary task. Multidisciplinary task. Yeah, this is correct. So it's correct, right? Okay. So in order to get the task done, concerning the quality, the resources, and the time as well, right? People may want to divide the task into smaller pieces of work or separate tasks, separate jobs, right? Separate jobs, and involve a number of people in each step, right? And that jobs is called the work specialization. Work specialization, right? When you want to divide a task into separate jobs, right? When with each step of the jobs, each job, right, completed by a different person, right? And remember that you have to make decision about where and when to stop the dividing job, right? The job division or job division, the job of dividing the work of dividing the jobs, right? Because if you try to divide the tasks into very very small pieces of jobs, you may experience something they call over specialization, right? And this fact can lead to a lot of these economies like boredom, like lots of these economies, right? Because of some say something like the it's not only attitude, but it's something like the behavior, right, of people, because they may feel bored, right, or may experience fatigue, stress, right, or some other type of behaviors like absenteeism, like a high turnover, etc. Right. So this figure show you that there should be a peak, right? A peak of the work specialization that can help you to make most from that. It means can give you the highest productivity, right? Productivity. And if you want to make the work specialization in more detail beyond that point, the peak point, you may experience these economies from the work specialization job, right? But how to determine chưa gọi được thanh niên kia đúng không? How to determine the pick point, this pick point. There's no zero rules for that, right? But people often use experiments, to determine that point, right? And it will change case by case. That's all specialization. Right. Now we move to the next one, departmentalization, right? That's the second element for organizing function, right? This is related to the way the jobs are grouped together, right? You will be dividing on tasks into the separate jobs, and then you need to find out, some common criteria to group jobs together, right? Why you need to group jobs together? Because you need to assign some people to manage or control or just monitor or like oversee the jobs, right? You cannot just let people do the job themselves without any control, without any monitors, right? So you need to group them together and put them under a supervisor or similar, title, job title, right? And then the job will be monitored, will be controlled, right? And then you can contribute much more to the success of the organization in terms of tasks or project or etc. Right? So you need to find out the way to group the job together, and that's called the departmentalization. Right? And you know that there are some ways, some traditional ways to group the job together. You can group the job by the functions to be performed by the jobs. Right? For example, you need someone to do the calculation when you do the designing job, right? And you also need someone to do the drawing, to draw, right? For the designing job as well, right? And those jobs are different, but they have something in common. It belongs to the job of designing, right? And then you can group them together, right? And put them into one department, right? Or some people will be working on quantity takeoff, right? For a particular just job, work or project, right? And some people will do the pricing, right? Quantity takeoff and pricing. Right? It means they have to collect the price in the market, right? And do the calculation for the price to be offered to the client, right? Including the unit price and the total price. Right. So you can groups the people who do the quantity takeoff with the people who do the pricing together, right? And you can call them like something like QS department or something like that. Or if you want to make a bigger department, right? You can include the people who do the designing, calculation, drawings, improvement as well, right? With the people who do the estimation, right? The quantities pick up people or the pricing people as well, and they would put them into a single department for the designing, something like that, right? So there are a lot of ways, to group the job together, right? Based on the functions. because even the functions can be labeled, right? Something very zero, the function is zero, or some specific functions, right? And you can also consider the product like if a company or organization produce a number of types of products, to deliver to the market, to serve the market, right? You can group the jobs by the product line, right? Like one for example, in construction industry, right? A contractor can be a contractor, of course, right? You can do the construction work on site, right? But they can also do the job of the material trader, right? Traders, material trader, right? It means they will buy material from somewhere and then sell, to their client, and they can also sell to the internal client, internal customers, right? Internal customers as well, right? So these are, different type of products, for that company. It means they've got different product line, right? Right. And then you can group people, based on some criteria, right, to form the departments. Geographical or process the customer, right? There are some figures, that follow to illustrate those ways to, to do the departmentalization or to make decision about the functional departments, right? Like this is function departments, right? It shows the function departments of the organization. The departments include managers, engineering, just engineering, then accounting, and then manufacturing, and then human resources, and then purchasing. And each of the department will have one manager, right, on top of that. Right. There are some advantages and disadvantages of this functional departmentalization. Right. The advantages can include the efficiency you can get because you are putting together similar specialties, right? Similar specialties, so you can help each other very easily, and then it's easily for you to enhance the productivities because people can share the job with each other, right? So productivity may be higher. Right. And because of this way of or these elements of the organization structure is just focus on each of the departments, right? Each of the uh, type of skills or knowledge orientation. Right. So in this, you may need to think of you may see the benefit. You may see the benefit of the coordination within the functional area because people doing the same job, sit together. It's very easy for them to communicate, right? It's very easy for them to collaborate as well. That's mean, that's why the coordination may be improved, right? That's the advantage, right? And it's in the narrow scope or narrow environment, right? So it's easier, for people to communicate, right? But of course, there are some disadvantages as well, right? The poor communication across functional areas because they focus much in each of the function or functional department, right? So it's considered as a disadvantage, right? And this because it focuses much on each of the departments, so it will produce a limited view of the organization goal, right? People in one department, functional department, often just think of something related to that department, but not something more in a wider scope work, right? The next one is geographical departmentalization, right? If your organization that run businesses in several regions, geographical region at the same time, right? You may want to consider the geographical departmentalization like this. Right. In this example figure, you will see that this company has set up 4 branches, right, in 4 regions, right? The Western, the Southern, the Midwestern, and the Eastern as well, right? And each of the branches, they appointed a director, right? But because this example is just about sale, right? So in front of the sale directors, and sale director. Or in terms of product, right? When you just focus on the production line of each product, like we mentioned before, right? You may experience product departmentalization, right? And the pluses are the advantages, right? And the minuses are the advantages. Right. So 3 significant benefits or advantages, right? Advantages can be this type of departmentalization allows specialization in particular products and services. Something special if we use this one, right? And because it focuses on the product, right? Not something wider. So the managers can become the expert in the industry. Right. And this can help the company to be closer to the customers. Right. You may see that because, for example, if you are working in Hanoi, right, and you want to contact some clients, customers in Ho Chi Minh City, right? If you are still based in Hanoi, it's very difficult for you to meet them, right? So you may want to open a branch in Ho Chi Minh City, and then the clients in Ho Chi Minh City may approach you through that branch office, right? These are the the advantages of this form, this type of departmentalization, right? So there's some disadvantages like it has duplication of functions, right? You mentioned it before, because it was several offices, like head offices at the same time, right? So there should be some people who do the same function in the main office, and there should be another one in the branch office as well, right? That's why you may see that there will be a duplication of in functions, which right. Another way to do the departmentalization is based on the process. Right. This figure show you a typical process in government, right? Your government plans, right? You can see different departments from sewing, planning, sorry, not planning, assembling, lacquering, and sanding, and finishing, and the last one is shipping, inspection and shipping, right? So this process is for what type of material? Can you guess? That process, produce what? Can you guess? What type of products that plants produce? Sewing, blending, assembling, lacquering, finishing, and inspection and shipping. Right.
Repeat.
Last one. Sorry, again, please. Yeah, again, please. What type of the process is that? Or what type of product?
For metal structure.
Metal structure?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Right. Because you see lacquering and sanding, right? And sanding, right?
Yes.
Because just
assembling and lacquering and sanding.
Because sewing can be used for wooden structure as well, right?
Yeah, it also. Yeah, wooden structure.
Wooden structure as well.
Yes.
If not use sanding for wooden structure, right? Because for anti-erosion of the metal structures, you need to do the sanding job, right? Understand? But not for the wood. Right. So you can see very clearly, the job after jobs, right? They are in the list, several jobs in the list, right? It means you can see the workflow very easily, and then you may find out the way to make the workflow more efficiently and more efficient and more effective, right? But sometimes it's very good for you to divide the job into pieces like this, right? Into process like this, and then you cannot apply this type of departmentalization. Right. This figure shows you the customer departmentalization, right? Can you group the customer in categories, right? Like in this figure, they group customer into the retail account, wholesale account, and government account. Right. The advantage of this is that the customer's needs and problems can be met by specialists. Right. But there are some disadvantages like the duplication function as well, right? In each of the retail account, you will need the jobs of the human resources management as well, for example, right? Human resources management example, for example, right? And you've got that in the main office and for each of the customer departmentalization as well. Right. So that's the application of function that and it will lead to some inefficiency in using the resources. Right. Another thing, because people in each of the departments in this approach will have a limited view of the organizational goals. Right, because they only see the goals that have been set up for their own type of customer, right? Because different customer may have, may require different things, and then the organization need to develop the goals, for each type, right? And they may not contribute to the achievement of, the goals of other departments or in the wider build of the total or entire organization, right? That's about the departmentalization, right? And now we move to the next element, the chain of command. Chain of command. Chain of command, right? So because you've got a number of people working together, right? People to work together, you need to know who will give order to whom, right? And how the information will go through the organization structure, right? So you need to set up a line. It's not a real line. It's not a real line. It's like a fake line, an imaginary line to connect people and people within organization, right? And this one is called the chain of command. Chain of command. When it contains information about the people who give order and the people who obey the order, who report, to the boss, who will be the subordinates and who will be the bosses, right? In other words, the chain of command can be defined as the continuous line of authority that extends from upper level of an organization to the lowest level of the organization, and then that line can clarify the facts that who we need to report to who. That's a chain of command, right? To make sure that you can create, a proper chain of command, you need to make sure that you understand thoroughly some of the related terminologies, terminologies. The first one is authority. Authority, right? People will be given some authority, right? Right. So people will, each person in a particular structure will be given authority. That is the right inherent in the managerial position to tell people what to do and to expect them to do it. Right. Will be given some authorities. Right. This is the right of managers to expect that their subordinate will obey his or her orders. That's authority. Right. And the second terminology is, second relevant terminology is responsibility. Responsibilities. Each person will bear their own responsibility. That is the obligation or expectation to perform something. Right. So your boss give order to you. Right. And then that's your responsibility or obligation to perform what they expect. Right. So the boss has authority and the subordinates need to bear their responsibilities. Right. And one more thing you may need to pay attention to when you do the chain of command, when you develop the chain of command, is the unity of command. Unity of command. Unity of command is the concept that a person should have only one boss and should report only to that person. Right. You may see in this figure as illustration, right? You see the one in orange, the ones in orange. District E, Region 2, Vice President, in orange, or President, right? Right. There's some lines missing in this. So you can see you need to put some more lines in, right? For example, you need to connect this down here. You need to connect this here, or here, right? And you may see a chain of command like this, from here down here, 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 like this. Right. But if you put another line from this president down here, like this, it means you will break the
chain of command.
Command.
Yes.
Command. Because there will be two persons can give order to this person, and if there are conflicts between the two persons here, two vice presidents, it's very difficult for the one in this position, to make decision. If there is a conflict between the orders of those people, like example, because every person will have their own priority, right? So, the vice president will order the region 2 that do this, stop doing that, because this one is important. A is important than B. So you focus on A and ignore B. But vice president in orange may think B is more important and order them to do B, not A. There will be a conflict. And so it's very difficult for the people in this region to to make decision what to do, who to follow, right? Who should obey. Very difficult for them. So it breaks the rule of unity of command. It's very important that you need to make sure that a person should have only one boss and should report only to that person. Right. So this should be need to report to region 2. Even the vice president in audience in the line the chain of command here, but he cannot report directly to this. Understand? You cannot make a report directly to this. You need to go through this line first, and then this person will need to comprehend all of the information you got, and then send up the report here. And this person, vice president, do the same. Send up the report here. Right, that's it. That's a chain command. Okay, guys. So let's make break until 1:45. Then, right? Stop at 1:45.
Yes.
Yes.
So the chain command, right? This is in lies connecting the people in different levels of the organization, right? And in a typical organizational structures, organization chat, you may see another line, often in the dotted form, and it's called the staff authority, like this. Staff authority, right? And it is different from the authority. Authority is in the chain of command, right? The chain of command is assigns this authority to the bosses, and then also the responsibilities of the subordinates, the employees, right? But this is about the staff authorities, right? You may see that the chain of commands like this, to make sure that you confirm with the unity of command, just only one line connecting people, right? But you will see that in reality, in order for the operation to run, right, you need information from human resources, from resource purchasing, right? You may need some inputs or comments or feedbacks from the director of human resources, the director of purchasing, and other directors, right? So, in order to represent those indirect relationship, right, you need to connect those departments or human resources or personnel to the main one, the one that you are focusing on, right? For example, the main job of an organization in this figure is the operation, right? So you put the line of authorities as the single lines like this, right? Not dotted or dashed, right? Connecting the positions, and then you put the one that supplements the main job, and connect them to the main job by the dotted or dashed line like this, right? So it doesn't mean that the director of human resources can give order, to the unit, one manager or the operation, right? They just work as the consultant to supplement, the decision-making process of the director of operation here, or down here, unit manager may want to consult the human resources and the purchasing department, unit or department, right, when they make the decision. But they may do something different, from what this department provide, because they got the full responsibilities. they are fully in charge of the job, right? They just use the information that those departments or units provide as reference, right? Understand? This is another line. And often in Vietnam, people mix those two lines together. You can see, in a lot of organizational structure, like the one I show you in the very beginning of the module. I show you again the organization chart of Vinacodex 1 or something. In the very beginning of the lecture, right, of the module.
In the slide 7.
Yeah. Yeah, from 7 to 15, something, right? Yeah. You say here. Right. When I did chart of Vinacodex in 2009, very long time ago, 11 years ago, right? You can see that there's only this type of line, solid line, no dash. The dashes here, represents another thing. It means the enterprises belong to the corporation, but just like with some very minor share, not like this one. They hold the majority of shares, right? And this, so in organizations like this, this deputy director can give order to all of those here, now here, right? And this violates the unity of command, the rule of unity of command we just mentioned before, right? Okay. Go back to our slide. Right. The next thing is the span control. It means the number of employees who can be effectively and efficiently supervised by a manager. Right. This definition is about only the number of employees, not number of departments. Not number of departments. So, like for example, in this organization chart, if we are talking about the director of operation here, his span control will be how much? If you just put like here one person. So his span control is how much? How many people is under his span control? You understand the question? We are talking about this position, director of operation, right? And assume that there's only one person in this position, another person, one person here, one person here, one person here, one person here,
10 persons.
Yeah.
10.
One here, one here.
Yes.
So how about the span control of that? How much? How many?
The position 2.
2. 2 person? Do you want to agree? 2? Good, 2, confirm? 2 or 10 or 8?
I think it's the 2.
Yeah, 2 is correct. 2 is correct. 2 means 2. You said 2, right? I said sounds similar, right? Okay. Right. Because there are two departments under that operation, and this director operation cannot work directly with the people under here, right? This person cannot work directly with the people under here.
Yes.
Will violate the unity of command, right? If they work directly, it will violate the unity command. So they just can work with these two people, right? Directly. And these two people in turn, for example, this one, they will work with this, with this, and with this, right? So the span of control for the director of operation is only two. The span of control of the unit manager will be four. Right? If we assume that there's one person in each place here. Understand?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Clear. Right. That's the actual span control of that position. But in designing the organization structure, you may consider the theory or theoretical span control, right? Or the width, or the maximum width, the maximum width of the span control, right? It means the number of employees who can be effectively and efficiently supervised by a manager, right? And to make decision about how many persons need to be put under one position, one boss, right? You need to consider some of the factors like this: the skills and the abilities of the manager, right? The more skillful the manager, the larger width of span he can possess, right? The more number of people he can manage at the same time, right? Skills and ability of the managers can impact the width of span. The second factor to be considered is the employees' characteristics. The employees' characteristics. Right. If they are just simple workers, right, like some rebar fixers or concrete workers, very simple work, very simple characteristics, right? And then you can manage, more and more of them, right? But if they are like very, very, so to say, well educated, like you yourself, students, or master students, or lecturers like me, things will be more complicated, right? And the variance in the job may be much more, right? So it means more work, or the manager need to more focus on managing those people. So it means the width of span is lesser, right? It's less, right? It's smaller, right? Okay, the next factor to be considered is the characteristics of the work being done. It is very simple work like pouring concrete, right? Or like rebar fixing, or something like that, right? You can manage more people. But if the work is more complicated, you will only have enough time and capability to manage less number of people, right? And the same for the similarity of tasks. If the tasks are similar, right? You may manage more people. If the tasks are different, it means more variance. It means you may need to spend more time in the variance. It means less people you can manage. It means the width of span is smaller, right? Another factor to consider is the physical proximity, right, of the support list, right? If I'm one person, if all of you work inside the New National University of Civil Engineering in the same class, it's very easier for me to control you, right? But because you are now in your home, in your own home now, right? So you can see that it's more difficult to control you if some of you will not obeying the order or the rules, right? Of course, like example, each day you spend lots of time waiting for people, right, to come into the room, right? For example, right, because you are very far from me. If you're just inside on class, I can ask you, to start the class, very soon, very early, very easier. And the next thing to consider is the standardization of tasks. Even the job is very complicated, but it can be divided into some standard, tasks, standardized tasks. It means they will be singular, right? So with the singular things, standard problem, right? Structural problems, right? You may use what? You may use program solution, right? Something you can program step by step, and then you just manage the steps, not manage the people. It means your span control may be larger, right? The width of span is bigger, right? And the figures here show you the number of managers. Sorry, some family matter. Right. You can see from figures here, right? There are two figures. With the one with span control of 4 and another with span of 8 people, right? And you can see a number of managers to be used in the organization in different scenarios, right? With this one, you need if you have 4,096 employees, right, at the lowest level, right? And with the span control of 4, you will need 1,365 managers. So it's like one manager, 3 employees. Even span is 4. Span control is 4, right? All of those people are managers, right? And if you use a span of 8, you can reduce the number of employees, sorry, the number of managers to 585, like nearly 3 times or 2.5 times lesser than the first case, right? And this one, of course, is more efficient, right? More efficient. You can save a lot of money for the managers here, right? Okay, so in order to reduce span control, right? You need to check those influential factors, right? The nature of the job you cannot change, right? The nature of the job you cannot change. Because it is, you design the organization for doing that, right? So the task you cannot change, the characteristic of the work being done you cannot change, right? And to reduce the span control, to increase the span control, you need to focus on the employee, focus on the managers, focus on the physical possibility, and focus on the standardization, right? You can standardize your job, right? You can increase the span control. It be more efficient this way, right? If you can enhance the skills and ability of the managers, you can reduce the number of managers. It means you can increase the span control. It means more efficient, right?
Yes.
Mm. So that's why people, for example, if you want to hire a manager, there are two options for you. The better one, who requires 20 millions per month net salary, 20 millions Vietnamese đồng per month net salary is better. And the second one just require 10 millions Vietnamese đồng per month, right? But his ability and his skill and his experience is not as good as the first one. Who will you choose? Who will you choose? Right. Of course, you cannot make decision now. You cannot make decision now, right? Because you have just not information. But I just want to say that not always the first choice will be better, or even the second choice, right? It depends on the case. But you have to consider, if you use the better one, the span control will be lesser. Sorry, will be bigger. It means the number of middle managers may reduce, right? And you can experience some economies there, and then you have to balance with the expenses you spent on that manager, right? You have to balance with that in both cases, right? In both cases, right? For example, in this here, because you have only two units, only two units for operation, right? You should only unit. If you don't think of the future, if you want to expand your business, with more units, unit 4, 3, 5, 6, 7, something, right? So you may not need, the very good, the very skillful, or well knowledge, or with many experience for this position, right? Just enough for only two of the units under him. That's it. That's enough. That's it. Right. But if you think of the future, if you want to expand your business to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 unit expression, right? So you need to employ the director of operation who can manage within the span control of 10 people, not only two slices, right? You can be more efficient. Okay. That's about span control, right? And some more elements. Centralization and decentralization is like a couple, right? They go together, right? Centralization and decentralization, right? if the level of centralization is more, is high, it means that the level of decentralization will be less, below, right? Centralization and decentralization refer to the decision-making process. It will be decided by the fact that you want or you let the employees to be involved into the process or not. If you want even the employees at the very lowest level of your organization to be involved in the decision-making process, it means you will be more into decentralization, or your level of decentralization is very, very high. Decentralization is very high. But if you just let the managers on top of your organization, right, to be involved in the decision-making process, it means the level of centralization is high. Right. So it depends. Right. And sometimes you can empower or delegate people under your management, right, under your supervision, to make decisions instead of you, right, on behalf of you, right. So this fact is called the employees empowerment. Employee empowerment. Right. You give power temporarily or conditionally to someone else, right, to act instead of you. That's the employees empowerment, right. For example, if you want a job that you want to assign to one of your subordinates, right? In addition to give them some of the responsibility to bear, you also need to give them some authority, right? Authority, especially the authority for making decisions within a certain scope of work, right? For example, in some joint venture company, in the joint venture company, right? In the joint venture, typical joint venture company, right? In Vietnam, often the chair of the management board can be the general director as well, right? But in many cases, the director, or even the general director, is the one who is hired from outside, right? So in order to prevent some of the risk that come from the wrong decision, incorrect decision or wrong decision, right? They may set up some limit for the writer decision. Like for example, in the rules in one of our friends' company, the chairman of the board of director, chairman of the board of management, just give the power for their general director to sign contract with the amounts within 20 billion. And in some other company, it's not 20 billions, but maybe just 100 million, very low. if you sign, if you are not allowed to sign, but you sign yourself, you make decision yourself to sign a contract with the amount larger than that, right? If there are some risk occur, right? There's some loss to the contract. You need to bear that 100%. You need to fully bear the risk and the loss. So very dangerous, right? So, in reality, when you are working with companies, especially the joint venture companies like this, you have to check if the general director have full power on the contract or not, right? And that's also be mentioned in the some minutes of this meeting or the decision minutes of meeting or decision by the board. Right? You have to check that. Or if you sign contract, like, with the company, but with the amount over than the director, even the director is allocated, right, is given, or is limited within, right, that contract will be violated. Is ineffective, right? So any loss in that, you may not claim from the company. You will claim from the company. So be very careful. Be very careful. Okay. Right. Right. When you want to a higher level of centralization, there are some cases, right, that you may want to make more centralization in your organization, right? For example, if the environment is stable, if the environment is stable, I mean, not change very much. Right? It means the time and the effort to be used to solve the problem is less. It's less. Right? So you may not need to mobilize the people in the lower levels of the organization to be involved into the decision-making process, because it's simple. It's simple, right? And only the strategic managers, the top managers, can deal with the situation. Right. The second case is when the lower level managers are not as good as the upper level managers in terms of decision-making process. Right. So they have no use, or their comments or inputs will have less useful, right? Will be less useful, right? So that's why the upper level managers, they don't want them to be involved into the decision-making process, right? Or in some other cases, it's not the upper level managers they don't want, but it's the lower level managers they don't want to be involved in the decision-making process, don't want to have a say in making decision, right? Because the main thing that is not their strength, because the main thing they are too busy to be involved in that, right? It's just simple like it's not their job, right? Another case for more centralization is when the decisions are relatively minor, not very large thing to be considered, right? Or the next case, organization is facing crisis or the risk of company failure. Can you tell me why, in this case, you don't want the involvement of the lower level managers in the decision process? This case, organization is facing crisis of the risk of company failure. Can someone tell me why you don't want the involvement of the lower level managers in the decision making process? Good. Okay.
Or in my opinion, so I think when I working for lower managers, I do not know, I not enough information about the problem that I want to make decisions. So that's why I think
Right.
for working, yes, they don't want to involve in making process.
Okay.
Decision process. Yes.
So this is something like a very strategic matter, right? Strategic matters, right? Not operational matter, right?
Yes.
Strategic matters, not operation matters. So that's why the manager at the lower level may not be capable enough to deal. Right? That's one reason. Anyone has another idea? Vinh, Linh, Hưng. Okay, Hưng. So Chris' idea is because that's the strategic matter. Strategic. You get the word? You catch that word? Not operational matter. So it belongs to the job of the strategic managers, it means the top managers, right? Not the operational. Any other ideas about that? Why in this case, people often don't want the involvement of the lower level managers? Who can contribute? Nguyên, can you? Nguyên, he's not here, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. How about your idea? What's your idea? Linh, how about you?
I think in this more centralization organization, the top manager have a more powerful, so the lower level manager have less power, so he can't make any decision. So
No, it's just like the involvement, not give the decision making process, not give the power to make decision for the one in the lower level, but just like to reduce the involvement reduce the involvement of the lower level managers. Not about power, right? Because they need to make decisions together in this case. Okay, because in my opinion, because the time is short, often short in this case, you need to act very fast because you are facing a crisis or the risk of company failure, right? So if you organize very last meeting for all of the lower levels managers to join, it will take you a lot of time. Okay, so that's why you need to focus on some key people, discuss among them and then make decision. That's another reason. That's a supplement to what Chris say, right, about strategic matters and the operational matter, right? And the same if the company is large, right? So job will be assigned, individually, right? And the lower level managers may have their own problems at their level, right? So they need to deal with those matters with in their level, at their level, right? And then the more complicated things will be given to the higher level managers. So the centralization is less. Sorry, it's more. It's more, in that case. Right. You want more decentralization? In opposite. Right. In opposite. The environment is complex, uncertain. Right? Environment is complex, uncertain. So the you may need more information from the environment, right? So you need to collect information from the frontline staff. Frontline staff. Is that good? But who have contact with who contact directly with the environment, right? Direct invite. Right. And they can get information from the environment, from the market, very quickly. Right. And those information will be very useful for the decision-making process. So in this involvement of the lower level managers, right? And other cases like lower level managers are capable and experienced at making decisions. And of course, because they are good at that, why not involve them? Right? Or if they want to have a say, you may want to give them a chance to say, right? Or if the decisions are significant, very important one, right? Important, so it may have influence to all of the people, in organization, except for the case that you mentioned in this. If the organization is facing a risk of failure. Right. So because it will influence to a lot of people, so you need to have their say, feedback, their comments, input in the decision-making process. Right. Or just simple like because your corporate culture is open. Right. And anyone can have their say. Or the company is geographically dispersed, so the central officers, the officers in the central office, in the main office, they may not have enough capability to cover all of the areas, right? So they need to empower down to the managers in each of the regional each the region, right? Regional location, right? Okay, so you can refer to this when you want to make decisions about the level of centralization or decentralization in your organization in the future, right? And the last one, the last elements of organization structure is the formalization, right? This is the degree to which the job within the organization are standardized. The extent to which employees' behavior is guided by rules and procedures, right? So you can imagine, if you can imagine all of the things that will happen in your organization, you can program, to do those. Even you can develop some standard procedures, some standard flow chart, right, etc., to guide people in your organization to do the job, right? It means the job will be more formalization. The job will be more formalization. It means you will experience a higher degree of formalization in your organization, right? Right. So, you see some comment lower than the definition. You will see that if you want the lower employees, to be more creative, it means you have to remove some barriers, or constraint to them, right? To be more creative, give them some space, to create something new, right? It means the formalization must be less, right? But you just want people to stick to the rules, right? And follow the instruction to the letters, right? It means you will need a higher level of formalization, right? So how about your current organization now? Can someone tell me if there are more formalization or less more formalization? And prove me. Okay, put again. Who are you looking for now?
Okay, actually, my organization that I worked before, it is highly formalized job.
Highlight.
Because they give me some task that I need to be done for per day. So
every day you will be given a task to be done.
Yes. Yeah, I need to
complete
complete.
Instruction. How about the instruction?
Yeah, instruction. Yes.
So you be given a job, a task to be done each day, and they will give you some instruction, right?
Yeah.
How to do that as well?
No?
For
example, when I working as a supervisor at the construction site, they put me to control the quality of specific work, such as the repair work, for finishing work, or the concrete work.
Yes. Is it Kotekom or Harbin Corporation?
Yes, I working for Fujita Corporation.
Fujita, okay, yeah, okay. Yes. I confirm that. Yeah, the Japanese one, right?
Yes.
So they give you some instruction, very clear instruction how to do the job, right?
Maybe it's not very clearly, but they just give me some instruction, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So do they have some system like the quality management system?
Yes, they supposed me to follow the standard of the. Right. They require me to follow according with the standards.
Standard. Even their own standards, or the international or the national standards?
We're using TCBN standards.
TCBN standard.
Yes.
It's for quality management. But
Yes, quality management.
it's not like the procedure, for quality management, like something, if you apply something like an ISO 9000,
Yeah, I know.
9000, that, yeah. So you have a very specific set of procedure to be followed.
Yes.
Right? Like, for example, if you want to do a rebar, you want to monitor, right, a supervised rebar work, what should you do first?
What do I first when I control the quality of rebar work?
Mm.
Actually, the first I need to checking what kind of rebar.
Mm.
What kind of rebar. After that, I will take the sample to test.
Mm.
Yes, at the lab, at the laboratory, and when I inspection at the construction site, I need to checking the quantities, how to the build as has is the toleration correct with drawing.
Toleration, yeah, toleration. Okay.
Yes.
Good. Okay. What some procedures based on. Okay. These are considered as the procedure show you how to work step by step, right? Maybe before right. Can you not tell me, some a little bit about the procedure? When you do the disinfecting step, you mentioned procedure and rules. Remember that? In chapter, I can't remember, chapter 2 or something. We were talking about the decision-making process. 3.
Chapter 3, yes.
3. Right, you got some types of question or problem, and then there was some so the matching times of the decision as well, right? Structure problems, program decision, and import procedure and rule, right? Also mean a series of interrelated steps that a manager can use to respond applying policy to a structure problem. And the rule is the explicit statement that limits what the measures or employees can do or cannot do. Right? That's procedure. Right. Okay, and there are several types of the structures, organization structures, and different types of structures can lead to different type of organization. Right, and in terms of the structures, people can differentiate between the mechanistics and the organics organization. They are in opposite, right? Mechanics, right? It's rigid. Right. And organic is something more flexible, right? So you can see that in the rigid, in the more rigid structure, right? You may have high specialization. like you got a certain number of job not interchangeable, etc. Right? So just that person doing the job, you can swap the job among the people, etc. Right? And you may have a rigid departmentalization. It means the fixed departments, right? And because of that, so you may have a narrow span control because of the fixed departments. So the managers in one department cannot manage people in another one, right? So that's why the span control is often narrow. And it needs high formalization, right? Because they want everything to be controlled. The managers, they want everything to be controlled. So they will set out, very fixed procedures and very strict rules, right? And force the subordinates to obey, right? And because there are some limited lines of command for the chain of command, the lines for the chain of command. So it's very difficult to exchange information between different departments. That's why we experience limited information network, right? And because it's like very rigid and high in specialization, you may not expect that the lower levels of managers can be involved much into the decision-making process. It means low decision participation, right? So power will be given to a certain number of people in the organization, not to all, right? It's something like a very monopoly. But in opposite, the organic organization has a highly flexible and adaptable structure, right? It can be changed according to the environment, both external and internal environment, right? And the boundary between the departments is not very clear. It's not very clear, right? So a person, today working in one department, tomorrow may be moved to another one because the task he's dealing with, right? He's assigned, right? But he doesn't need to move into another physical place. You can just stay in your own place, and assigned job by another department. So this organization is very, very flexible and adaptable, right? And this one, can work best if the jobs are non-standardized, right? Because they are non-standardized, you need to deal with case by case, right? So with a fixed structure, you may not be given enough power to do that, right? That's why you may need to change to the organic organization, right? The second characteristics of the organic organization is fluid team-based structure. It will be based on the flow of information to run through your operational processes, right? To design the structures of your organization. Very flexible, right? It's fluid team-based. And little direct supervisor will be needed. Right? Because people are working like peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer, right? Like everyone is the same level. Right? So no one can be the boss of another, right? With this like a very, very original meaning, right? So no direct supervision, but most, not every people in the network, in job, need to care about their own job course and care about the job of people who are linked, to the jobs of theirs. Maybe in the previous stage or in the following stage of the production processes. Right. So little direct supervision will be needed. People need to supervise or control their own job. This next one is minimum formal rules. Right. You may not need formal rules because you need to be very flexible to adapt to the change in the environment. Open communication network, sorry. Right? Everyone can talk to anyone, to another one. Right. There's no chain of command, with its original meaning. Right. Anyone can share their own idea peer to peer. Right. And the organization is open to new ideas, etc. And the last thing is about the empowerment or delegation, right? For the organization, the employees are empowered. It means they may contribute much, in the decision making process. So how about your current organization now? Is it very rigid like mechanistics, or is it more flexible like organic? Can Nguyen, are you quick now? Can you tell me a little bit about that, Mr. Nguyen?
Yeah.
About your organization? It is more mechanistics or more organic, and why? People often experience a mixture, a mixture between the two. Yeah. How about yours?
My company, yeah, materialistic organization.
Mechanistic?
Yeah.
Why do you say so? Give us some proof.
Mm.
What's wrong?
Mm.
Why is mechanistic? It can compare with the characteristic listed here. Is that high specialization or very rigid departments, just like very fixed? You cannot add people in or remove people from that very easily. You cannot mobilize people, to for some ad hoc project, etc. Right? And the formalization, and the empowerment in your organization, etc. Right? You can collect some information to prove your statement, to support your statement.
Mm,
You cannot say English, just saying Vietnamese will be easier for you.
mm, but I
Okay. You can, yeah, if you have more something, and next time we can, yeah, you can give your opinion. Anyone has some ideas about your own organization now, Mr. Ling?
My company is not so not formalized, uh, not formalization as it is organic organization.
It's more organic.
Yes, it's more organic. Then people in this company they do many work with different work, and they don't and it's in this company with it didn't divide on to department. It's uh, um, a person can join to many projects and in time.
You understand him? Good.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, comments, please.
Yes, so it's my organization. It's a mechanic.
No, I mean, just comments about Link's idea about.
Yes,
organization.
about the link ideas. So I think that he working for the furniture company.
Okay, furniture company.
Yes, so he has ability to work from the design to the supervisor at construction side. And so I think he has more power to make decisions when he met some urgency problem at construction side because he working for the design. So I think it's the organic organization.
Okay. He's a designer, right? Like an interior designer or interior
designer.
Yes.
Yeah, he's an interior designer.
Okay, so
I don't know exactly, but when I communication with him, he talked to me like this. So
Okay,
I guess
okay.
yeah.
So Link is an architect, right?
No, I'm not architect. I study
Engineer?
about yes, infrastructure transport, but I work as a company as design, leading, and also the supervisor inside.
Okay.
And work
Because you are not an architect. Interior design need, I think need more architecture. So I don't think that you can have enough power to make decision on site because
yes, I don't have enough power, but
you can suggest, right? So you just collect information and then you pass back to the main office, and then the designer, I mean the architects in the main office will deal with the problem, right? I think that's more suitable, right? Because it's not your field. It's a you've got not enough expertise to do that. Okay, but it depends. It depends. It might be different because it's just the corporate culture, right? You mentioned something like a corporate culture, right? It's open. Your organization is very open, so anyone can have a say. Even the one on site, can make some decision. It depends. Right? It's just my comments. It's my comment. Okay, guys. So we finished our lecture today with a comparison between the mechanistic and the organic organization. And remember that you got another presentation, group presentation to do. And I sent you the instruction very long time ago. And one group's just done that already, right? And the other is prepare. And we will do the presentation session on Thursday next week. Is that okay for you? Is that enough time for you? Thursday, not Monday. Thursday next week.
Yes, okay.
Okay, right with that? Okay, good. Okay.
Yes.
Have a nice day. Okay, see you next time.
Yeah, okay. See you later.